Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of James Bond Bitcoin Live 0087 hashtag ABC. So let me go over the notes section first. Let's see what we have here for today. Now, I still have all the links from the previous episodes here. Got the Bitcoin Silver, make Bitcoin decentralized again. I haven't gone there today to check it out, see anything's going on with it, but that's all right. I'm sure somebody will. Below that, I have the I have the meme. It's the meme. It's time to stop meme. I like it so much. I think I'll leave it there. Either one or a couple things are going to happen. Either these hard forks are going to happen, or they're not going to happen. But Bitcoin Silver, I think, is supposed to happen somewhere around November. And then Bitcoin Platinum, the true decentralized Bitcoin, fair, proof of work, multi-algo. I think this one right here, Bitcoin Platinum, totally fake. Okay, not going to happen. That's my opinion. Not much going on the forum, but there's a link to it. Bitcoin Uranium is part of the wild card. Bitcoin Uranium, make Bitcoin great again, radioactive coin. No problem there. Also in the notes section, I have a list of airdrops, last updated the 29th October. So that's the last time I checked. Although I think it updates every day. Feel free to go and check it out. Recently, people like getting free money dropping from the sky. So can't blame you for that. I would do the same thing. All right, in this episode here, I have some links to some articles and some blogs. This one is Bitcoin ABC statement on the November 2017 hard fork upgrade. So that's coming from bitcoinabc.org. Yes, they're having a hard fork in November. It's not the SegWit 2x hard fork. It's hard fork for Bitcoin Cash. And the development team is called Bitcoin ABC. So I'll go over that here in the show, but it's in the notes section and there's a link to it. Next is Huobi, Huobi. I don't know. I guess, I never figured out the real pronunciation of this exchange, but I guess it doesn't matter because Huobi says goodbye to Bitcoin industry amid rumors it's not over for China. Well, surprise, surprise. A lot of rumors floating around. This is from Cointelegraph.com. Again, I'll go over it in the show here, but there it is in the notes section for you to check out. Within Cointelegraph, there is a source to a link to Huobi or Huobi coming directly from the website. Leon Lee, the founder of Huobi, business adjustment of Huobi China after October 31st, 2017. So there's a link for it in there, but I'll go over it in the show. And then also in the notes section is China planning to resume Bitcoin and cryptocurrency trading soon? This is cryptocoinsnews.com. And of course, I'll be going over that as well. Also in the notes section is Bitcoin difficulty all time. I put that in there just to add it in because I am going to talk about that because Bitcoin difficulty is at an all-time high. It is something to look at, and I am concerned for it because with Bitcoin Cash, SegWit 2x, and then of course you have regular Bitcoin, there's a potential of 3 forks with basically competing for hashing power because they're all using the SHA-256 algorithm. It's going to be interesting because if there is a fork, and there's now going to be 3 forks, well, 3 hashing forks that are competing for hashing power, and we're at an all-time difficulty. This is going to be interesting, and it relates to Bitcoin ABC and why they're hard forking. Of course, I have also in the note section SegWit Charts. I haven't looked at it. All I know is that it's at around 8%. I just put it in there for you, for the audience members. Also in the note section, the Jackson 5 ABC. I think you'll get a kick out of that. Blast from the past. And I have hashtag yes2x55, which you're looking at right now, which is obviously something I'm going to be talking about today. The pot of gold is also in the notes section, and the address, the Bitcoin address, okay. So as far as I know, it's the Bitcoin address, but who knows what's going to be in the future. Anyways, it is a SegWit address, just to let you know, to the pot of gold for your donation. Please donate. It'll make it fun for everybody. And then I also have Hiroja Shibe Space Odyssey Network. I have a link to her channel. Please subscribe to her. Check out her videos. And Skive. I also have Skive and link to his channel. Please subscribe to his channel and check out his videos. And also, Yes for Motivation. I have a link to his channel. Please subscribe to him and watch his videos as well. So, and then let's see who's all in the live chat. And Dual Overhead Camness, what's up? Good to know that you're always there. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate that. At first, I wasn't too sure if you were enjoying my channel or not, but it seems like you're always there, and it seems like you do enjoy it. So let me take a look at the meme today. The meme today is ABC easy as 1, 2, 3, related to the Jackson 5 music video Blast from the Past, which is in the notes section. Hashtag yes2x. What are the Chinese up to? What are they doing? So the recent price rise, I think, really has to do with the rumor of whether the Chinese are coming back online with their exchanges. It seems like the peer-to-peer trading that's going on in China, that's starting to develop. It's healthy or getting healthier. I think all the exchanges that had the exchange or did have exchanges, they're starting to implement a peer-to-peer over-the-counter Bitcoin trading. And so that's kind of what they're doing, and that's what they're implementing. Mr. Brown, thank you for joining the chat. I'm very happy that you enjoyed listening to the channel and to the show. So I'll be talking about China today. I think that's kind of where I'm going to put my focus on, and a little bit about difficulty. So, and then also in the chat is DD8209. Hello, how you doing? Good to have you here. Thank you for watching. So let's go on to what I have in line here. I got something. Sorry for the brightness here, and my computer's just slow. Okay, the pot of gold. Last time I checked it, there's no new donations to it, but that's okay. If anybody would like to donate, please do. It just adds to, and as you're adding to the pot of gold, it's basically a game of cracking the encrypted private key, or as in increments of $10. I think it's just under $30. I've already given clues to the first 2 words of the 24-word recovery seed. And if you haven't checked out that video. I think it was maybe 2 videos ago. I'm not sure which one. You probably have to go back and check. But I did provide 2 clues to the first 2 words, and if I can get someone else to donate to push it above $30, I'll give out the 3rd clue. Or again, you can try cracking the code. It's an encrypted private key on the right-hand side, and then on the lower bottom is a channel for Yellow Fever for you, who gave me the idea of doing this. So, all right, that was a nice little plugin for the Pot of Gold. Hopefully it'll reach hundreds of dollars and maybe thousands of dollars, and maybe in the future it'll be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm sure a lot of people will try to crack it then. Oh, that's a long white screen. Sorry for that. Let's see what's going on here. There should be the website to ABC. There it is. It took a while. I was wondering if this is ever going to show up. So this is the ABC, bitcoinabc.org website, and it's regarding the November 13th hard fork. This has nothing to do with SegWit fork. Which it's interesting. There's a lot of events going on November 1st, as well as things going on in November. So on or before November 1st, Bitcoin ABC will publish a new software version that contains an update difficulty adjustment algorithm, DDA. So also on November 1st, supposedly China will start opening up their exchanges again. That's the rumor. But also on November 1st, supposedly Bitcoin Gold will be available to everybody that has the private keys, supposedly. Haven't heard too much, but it's just right around the corner. A lot of things happening on November 1st. I don't know why November 1st was a date, but I find it highly suspicious that all these things are happening on November 1st. So on top of that, I think it's November 16th, around that time, the hard fork for Bitcoin SegWit 2X is going to happen. Ironically, Bitcoin Cash will have their own hard fork. Now, I don't know if there are actually going to be any splitting going on or what's going to happen. But let me go over the blog here real quick. I guess you can call it a blog or public service announcement. So what's interesting reading this is their EDA, which is the emergency difficulty adjustment, is what they used when they hard forked themselves with replay protection to adjust for the high difficulty that currently Bitcoin has right now. And they did that so their block times and their transactions wouldn't freeze because they didn't have enough hashing power that moved over. And that's been a horrible, horrible experience for them, because they've had points where it would be very easy to mine blocks and it would adjust. Their EDA, emergency difficulty adjustment, would adjust and make it very difficult, where it would take hours to mine a block. And it would be doing that. It was such a nuisance. So that's the reason why they're doing the hard fork. And so they're naming it difficulty adjustment algorithm now. So it's now DDA. And interesting is they had about 3 to 4 different teams developing. It's not just ABC, but ironically, the lead developer, I don't know if it's a her or she, but Amuri Sekshit. Sorry if I butchered the name. I'm really horrible. Amuri Sekshit. I don't know. Lead developer of ABC Bitcoin ABC. Anyways, there's different teams. You know, it mentions BitPrime and nChain, and nChain's the company in which Craig Wright is a part of. But in any case, they had different implementations. They had top 3 algorithm here tested. It says here D, I'm assuming difficulty number 5, 7, 8. I'm not sure what the numbers really represent. And then D601, and then D622. And, you know, they got the names from where it came from. Ultimately, I think they settled on D622. And so they tested all of them, and they came up with similar results as what they claim. They're shooting for 600 seconds. Now, in 600 seconds, I don't know, what is that, 10 minutes? So they're shooting for 10 minutes, 600 seconds. Let me verify that. I'm sure I'm correct, but I'm not always right. 600 divided by 60, 10. Yeah, 10 minutes. Amazing. So they're shooting for 10 minutes here. So they finally came up with an algorithm, and these are some of their objectives in which they wanted to choose. And I find it interesting. They had a simple moving average of 144 period moving average. And what's interesting is Brian loves that number for some reason. And I noticed that moving average is being used a lot. It's being used on the SegWit chart, 144 period simple moving average. And it's also being used on this algorithm here. So the algorithm is based on 144 period simple moving average. And let's see what it does. It says adjust difficulty to hash rate to target a mean block interval of 600 seconds, which is 10 minutes. I don't know why they just say 10 minutes, or well, I guess it's the same thing. Avoid sudden changes in difficulty when hash rate is fairly stable. So I guess that was the issue of their EDA, is when it was stable, it would have sudden difficulty. Anyways, and then number 3 would be adjust difficulty rapidly when hash rate changes rapidly. So I guess they're anticipating some form of minor migration, because if SegWit 2x does happen, we're going to have 3 chains, and the 3 chains are going to be mined by, you know, anybody and everybody. And depending on how valuable the chain is, or if how profitable based on the price of that token on each chain, miners are going to move around. Let me see. Number 4 says avoid oscillations from feedback between hash rate and difficulty. So I guess their EDA had some feedback issues, and the reason why the difficulty became very low and then very high. So it had a little feedback loop problem. And number 5, be resilient to attacks such as timestamp manipulation. I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming that's one of the other issues they had. So I got some formulas here. They've done some testing. So this is an upgrading of the network. And supposedly all the exchanges are being notified. All the wallets are being notified. I don't know if there's a big disruption. I haven't used ABC all that much. The only thing I've done is split my coins using Electron wallet instead of Electrum wallet. That's the only thing I've done. I haven't even upgraded my Electron wallet. I think there's been several upgrades. So I'll probably have to upgrade that wallet. I have very little Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash in it. That was just to test the splitting. I did say seg shit. I mean, maybe that's I'm not sure if that's the name, if I said the name out correctly. Let me see here. Bitcoin ADC lead developer, Hamuri Sekship. I don't know, that's how it sounds like it should be pronounced, but if I'm wrong, I mean, feel free to do a video response. So this is happening on November 13th, people. So there's probably going to be some confusion, and people are going to think, well, the hard fork happened on the 13th, because I've seen some videos where people talked about Bitcoin Cash having a hard fork, and I'm like, are you talking about Bitcoin Cash having hard fork? Or are you talking about Bitcoin SegWit 2x having a hard fork? Because they were doing a chart analysis on Bitcoin. So I'm not sure if it was just a slip of the tongue, slip of the mind, but a lot of confusion going around. So anyways, let's go on to the next thing here. And the next thing I think is, okay, a chart of the difficulty. This is all time. This is the full thing, right? And if you take a look at it, it's gone exponential. Okay, and what I've noticed is it doesn't really even matter what the price is. The difficulty with Bitcoin has never trended downwards. It's always trended up. Now you can see in the last part here, and you know, if you look at this huge spike right about here, look at this. This is where it's at. It's had a huge increase recently. So look at that. Look at this huge increase right here. It's huge increase. So something's happening, in my opinion. I mean, the hard fork is coming up soon. All of a sudden, we had a surge of difficulty. So a lot of miners are coming online, pushing the difficulty. Now, considering in a couple of weeks here, you're essentially going to have 3 forks competing for the hashing power. One of these forks, Bitcoin Cash, is doing a hard fork to adjust their difficulty, and how the algorithm is adjusting their difficulty. We'll have 2 chains competing again for the same hashing power. And well, the current chain has had a huge spike in difficulty, going to split in 2, in which both of those chains will be competing for hashing power. So at some point, if I'm looking at Bitcoin Cash and seeing what happened to them when they forked off with a very high difficulty from at that time the current Bitcoin, and what they needed to do to keep the blocks going, keep the transactions going, they had to do an emergency difficulty adjustment, which screwed up everything for a while. Now they're doing another hard fork to adjust their emergency difficulty. And, you know, that was a miner induced hard fork. So this one with SegWit 2x, could you imagine what is going to happen when it does split? Both chains will be very slow. Even if like 70% migrate, let's just say 70% migrates to SegWit 2x. So that's the supposed New York agreement. I mean, it's supposed to be about 80 to 90, but let's just say 70, right? Obviously, one chain is going to have a very difficult time confirming blocks. So if you take into consideration what happened to Bitcoin Cash and what they had to do when they hard forked, they immediately hard forked and had emergency difficulty adjustment. So something tells me when this hard fork happens, you know, one chain is going to have a very long time confirming blocks. I think it's safe to say that, because the difficulty's just ramped up here in the last, let me see, what date is this? The 27th is the last recorded time here. So since the 27th, it's literally at an all-time high. Now, difficulty being that high, and all of a sudden you had 70% of your hashing power disappear, block times are going to take a long, long time. Very, very long time. So one chain is going to have a different hashing power versus another chain, but the difficulty of those two chains are going to be the same. So there might be a chance there could be a hard fork coming. All right, with the split, one of the chains is going to have to hard fork to do a difficulty adjustment. Now, whether it's SegWit 2x or the legacy chain, I don't know. We won't know until it actually happens, and that's happening November 16th. Supposedly, it's scheduled November 16th, 16, 18, somewhere around there. So, just want to share that with you. Difficulty is at an all-time high. Bitcoin has never had a reduction in difficulty. That means there's a lot of miners online hashing away. Hello, Will Collins. Good to see you. First time I've seen you here. Sorry for the slowness in my screen share. So I'll get to all your questions maybe at the end a little bit. So here's another article by Huobi says goodbye to Bitcoin industry amid rumors it's not over for China. And so my previous episode, I talked about the rumors of China bringing back Bitcoin trading as the reason why the price got pumped on Sunday. And the timing seemed right because the time the news came out and the time the price started moving up, it was just perfect timing. It actually started as soon as on the hourly chart, on the hour, as soon as when I saw the news come out, on the hour, the price started moving up. So in this article here by, let's see, Cointelegraph, this is where I got the information from the blog post by Huobi. Basically, looks like they're not planning on reopening, and it seems a lot will happen. And again, November 1st is also mentioned here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read this part right here, which has November 1st right there. And you can see it says, while hope remains that China's domestic traders will once again get access to exchanges, the country's big names such as BTC China, OKCoin, and others will all disappear from November 1st. A lot of, that date is coming up quite a bit. So again, November 1st is also the day in which Bitcoin Gold will be available to all Bitcoin users who had Bitcoin and you own the private key. Supposedly it will also have replay protection. And then also November 1st is when Bitcoin ABC, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin ABC is the development team for Bitcoin Cash, is going to release their software for the upgrade to do a hard fork on November 13th. And now November 1st is supposedly when all the Bitcoin Chinese exchanges will disappear. Coincidence? There's just too many coincidences here, and it just makes you wonder. And then it shows here the local Bitcoin's volume, and you can see it's spiking here at times when the Chinese exchanges halted withdrawals of Bitcoin, and now again when they're about to shut down. So the OTC markets in China, it looks like all the exchanges are going to shut down the exchanges, but they will continue, or they are developing over-the-counter markets in China. So they'll be able to trade peer-to-peer, person-to-person, as long as they comply with AML and KYC. But at least it will get Bitcoin flowing in that country. And then here's the link to the letter. So here is a letter from Huobi. It says, Leon Li, the founder of Huobi, business adjustments of Huobi, China after October 31st, 2017. And so basically they're saying that, it sounds like they're saying they're shutting down. They're not going to be trading on their exchanges. And let me see here. It says right here, on September 15th, Huobi China officially received notice and guidance from the regulator and terminated services, including registration and RMB recharge, the same day. Tomorrow, October 31st, Huobi China exercises full cessation of all digital assets against the yuan's trading business from 2400 hours GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, I'm assuming. So that'd be in London. So I guess they're not going to go with it. As soon as October 31st hits, November 1st, they will no longer be there. So I'm not sure what the rumor was about China opening the exchanges. I think that might be just a rumor from what I can tell. But it goes on quite a bit. Looks like they open up exchanges in different parts of China. They have wallets. I think they may even have something going on in Hong Kong. I can't fully recall. But it also looks like they're trying to also establish OTC market, over-the-counter market, because trading over the counter is perfectly fine. Having an exchange like Bitfinex or Huobi, like they did have, may be an issue. So go ahead. There's a link in the notes section. Go ahead and read it for yourself. And then here you go again. Another article, is China planning to resume Bitcoin and cryptocurrency trading? At this point, you know, the way the prices are moving, I don't know if China makes that much of a difference. I don't think China makes much of a difference at all, because without China, the price has hit all-time highs in Bitcoin. So trading is still going on. Demand is still going on. It just may not be through the exchanges, which I think a lot of the exchanges in China seem to have manipulation, wash trading. And as soon as that got shut down or tampered down, the prices started going up. And then now the exchanges being shut down, the prices has continued to gone up, because I think people are no longer just dumping them and trading them on exchanges. They're actually becoming hodlers, and they're buying peer-to-peer, which doesn't always reflect on the exchanges, but it does reflect on demand. And the more people that are using Bitcoin peer-to-peer, it reduces liquidity or raises demand. And so the people who do have access to exchanges and are trying to get more Bitcoin through the exchanges, they're buying them up to fulfill peer-to-peer markets in the real world. trying to fill that demand, and I think that's maybe one of the reasons why you've seen the prices go up. Yeah, China tried to Shanghai Bitcoin. Very good. That's very funny. They sure did. It didn't work, did it? Actually had the opposite effect. But let me go to this article here. Let's talk about it real quick. Again, they talk about OKCoin or OK Exchange, and then Huobi here. Looks like they did launch a peer-to-peer over-the-counter trading platform. And so they're not completely dead. I think just the exchange as you know it, the online exchanges are going to be shut down. I think they're still around, so they're doing more over the counter. But I think they have to apply with, again, AMC, not AMC, AML, anti-money laundering laws, and know your customer laws, regulations. So, which in a sense could be a good thing. It could be like a gold market where you're buying at spot, or you're selling, well, you're buying at spot, but then you have to be sold at a discount, or something like gold and silver, where I guess you're selling at spot and then you're buying at a premium. And I think that's going on with Bitcoin in places in China like that. So it's creating a different kind of market. And this goes into a little bit more detail, a little different perspective on it. It gets into the politics. A lot of people are saying this has to do with the re-election of President Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping. Apparently, once Xi Jinping gets re-elected, everything will come back to normal. Well, that's a rumor. And I guess if you had to do anything, buy on the rumor. Then when the news really comes out, sell on the news. So this is this article right here. And that's also in the notes section. Please enjoy it and read it for yourself. Sometimes I think, China, they do a lot of things, and if you think about what China does, they do. There's a whole market about China that nobody knows about. All the synthetic drugs and chemicals come from China. Okay, all the cheap labor of counterfeit goods come from China. All right, there's a lot of stuff that come from China that the government obviously knows about, but turns a blind eye to it. And I think the Bitcoin trade is another thing that the government probably knows about. A lot of money laundering, a lot of value transfer going on, but they turn a blind eye to it because if you think about it, China's biggest customer is not, China's biggest customer is the U.S. And counterfeit goods, synthetic drugs and chemicals, cheap labor, all this adds to their pockets in China, right? And if you think about all the bad things, like counterfeit goods destroys U.S. companies, synthetic drugs destroys the U.S. citizens and the culture of America. Their cheap labor takes jobs away, again, from Americans and probably most of the world. So if this is China's plan to dominate the world, of course they're not going to stop that. They want They want that to happen. And so although it looks like they're cracking down on Bitcoin and stuff like that, they may not really be. It may just be a facade, and they just really want it to go to a peer-to-peer market where, again, a peer-to-peer market is unregulated. An exchange, online exchange, is regulated. So maybe they want to push that out of the way and into an unregulated territory where it can't be monitored, to allow these, industries to happen, because, money laundering, counterfeit goods, illegal contraband, labor. And when I say labor, I'm talking about migrant labor, human trafficking as well. So there's a lot of things that, again, goes on in China that the government knows about, don't have a problem with, as long as it benefits them as the state, but destroys the rest of the world. It may be to their advantage. So keep that in mind. So this is, I'm going to show you something here. This is typically Bitcoin. This is 21Co, but when I refresh this, it's changed. It's actually, now let me see what the it's bitcoinfees.earn.com. It used to be bitcoinfees.21.co. Now it's bitcoinfees.earn.com. So when you look at this, they've pivoted. 21 has pivoted now. I don't know what they're doing, but now they're trying to make a token that's based on a social network. Earn. They're calling it Earn. So I don't know if they're going to do an ICO or what the deal is, but something's different about this company. So anyways, this here is the transactions. And if you take a look, now you got to remember, these are lagging indicators. These are lagging history. So all the transactions that were 1 to 10 Satoshis kind of been getting filled. I wouldn't recommend 1 to 10 Satoshis because I think the mempool is still over 5,000 transactions. So some of the transactions that I'm receiving in the pot of gold has still not confirmed, and it's been 2 to 3 days now. If you go to where the transactions are probably getting confirmed, you're looking at 250 to 260 Satoshis per byte, and those have been getting confirmed. I would suspect anything at 200 Satoshis per byte and up will get confirmed a lot faster than anything below 200 Satoshis, although they will get confirmed from what I can see here, but this is lagging. This is lagging history. This is kind of showing you what has been done in the last 24 hours as far as transactions in the blue. And then the red-brown part is how long that transaction has been in the mempool for 336 hours. And you can see anything from 1 to 10 is going to be there for a very long time compared to everything else, which is being confirmed very, very, very fast. So just to let you know, like 21.co or 21 has pivoted to Earn, and they're going to be somehow a social network site now, the first token-based social network site. So I'm not sure they're going to make another Steemit or another whatever, you know, who knows. Probably going to do an ICO now. Let's go on to the next thing here. We're about. Am I back around? Okay, so I guess I'll get into the mempool. Sorry about that. I want to get into the mempool here. So let's see. So here I'll get into the mempool real quick. Let's take a look at the mempool and see how that's doing. And it's come off its high of 60,000 transactions in the mempool, but it's still high. And to get your transaction confirmed, it seems like 200 satoshis per byte will get into the next block. Anything under that, I guess you can risk it. I know for sure if it's anything of 10 to 20 satoshis per byte, 0 or 1 satoshis per byte will probably not make it for a very long time. So 10 to 20 satoshis per byte will still not make it for a long time. So anywhere between 200 to 10 satoshis per byte, if you can wait a little bit longer, you can find a happy medium in there somewhere. Anything at 200 and above, 200 satoshis and above per byte, you'll probably get your transactions done. So there's something here. I don't know. Something's going on. We're very close. There's a couple things happening. You got. I don't know if Bitcoin Gold is going to make a difference. It probably won't, but it is happening. Supposedly on November 1st, it's going to be available. Supposedly, we'll have to wait to see that. But you got Bitcoin Cash updating their software on the November 1st, having that available, and then hard forking November 13th. You also have the SegWit 2x hard fork November 16th. Now, there's supposedly a Bitcoin Silver, which I don't know if that's really going to happen because it's already November and I haven't heard anything about it yet. But that's another hard fork if it will ever happen. And so you have a lot of things happening here, and I'm not sure if hashing power is being moved around between different forks of Bitcoin. And so I've noticed it's never gone below 5,000 transactions in the mempool. So it looks like anything with very low transaction fees will not get into the next block. So I don't know if that's intentional or something's happening with the network. Difficulty is rising. A lot of mining, hash power is coming online to push it up, and in anticipation of the hard fork that's coming, making the difficulty very high before the hard fork. That could be another thing. Anyways, there you go. Current amount of transactions in the mempool right now, 7,622. All right, so let's go on to a quick chart. And we'll take a look at this. All right, we'll take a look at the chart here on the 1 hour basis. So let's see if it was able to break the previous all-time high of where the price is now. It obviously broke the previous all-time high, but it pierced it and then came back down. So, all right, so we're currently the price at 6,138. It was 138. I'll just say 138. 6,138 on Bitstamp. It did not break the. It's below the previous all-time high. All right, and so the all-time high was 6,316.90, but it's obviously below the previous all-time high, which was I think 106,180. If I'm not mistaken. So let me see what it was. Yeah, 6,180. So it's below the previous all-time high. It's really got to break. above that and stay above that to have it push up even higher. And on top of that, it has to go above 6,316 and 90 cents. So it has to go above this high as well. With everything that's going on, I think everyone's already positioned with the transaction fees or the mempool being so high. It just makes sense that everyone's already moved their coins everywhere, and I think that's where you saw the mempool being at 60,000. They've already kind of have an idea of what exchanges are going to do what. They've already moved all their coins. That's why you saw the mempool very high. And people who are buying, if they're going to buy, they're buying now, and they'll probably be buying as hopefully closer and closer we get to the hard fork, whether they want a piece of free money or not. And so there could be a possible chance we can make another high, but it didn't break that much higher. You know, you're talking about a very small percentage, a fractional percentage higher than the previous high, which was 6,180, and it just went to 6,316. So it didn't break high. So I'm a little suspicious about this, and plus the news of China, the rumor going around, everything happening on November 1st. Hard fork with Bitcoin Cash, November 16th, the hard fork of SegWit 2x, November 16th through 18th, somewhere around that time. It's just a lot of things happening around a short period of time that makes me think that there's something going on that I think a lot of people aren't anticipating. Okay, let's break out of that. And then let me go on to a 12-hour and a 3-day real quick. Well, that 12-hour looks really good. You know, it's just continually going up, and it's following. It's bouncing on this the yellow average line, which is weighted. So it looks like as long as it continues to bounce off of that, it looks really good. Let's go to a 3-day. I'm just going to skip to a 3-day. The 3-day, you could see that it's following this average line, which is weighted again. And as long as it just does that, it looks like it's trending up higher. I'd just be careful because let me see, the bottom of this is at around 5,800. And then if I'm using this as support, this one is at 4,600, somewhere around there. And let's just take a look at the weekly. Man, that looks just like the chart of the difficulty. And so if difficulty increases any more before the hard fork, there's probably a good chance that will increase as well. As more people invest into mining rigs to increase the difficulty, there's an expectation of the price to go higher. So watch for the difficulty, and I think you'll see it coincide with the price rise. It'll be interesting to see how that difficulty changes after the hard fork. And if you're wondering what to do and how you as an investor or a user can affect the outcome of the hard fork coming up for SegWit 2x, I think another reason why you saw a price rise, let me just get rid of this here and go back to the meme. So I think another reason for the price increase is because as an investor, as a user, the only thing you can do at this point is put your money where your mouth is, or what you believe in. And so at this point, the only thing that anyone can do, if you're not a miner, if you're not a miner, um, if you're a miner, you're going to have to choose which fork to mine on. If you're ideological, for ideological reasons. Other than that, um, if you're a miner whose sole purpose is to profit, you will mine the chain that is the most profitable. Okay, so this is where the investors and the users and maybe the business facilitators may come in. So one of the reasons I think the price is going to rise, if people believe in the current chain, is they're trying to pump up the price of Bitcoin, right now BT1 as some people would call it, to ensure that the miners have incentive to stay on this chain. Because if they're going to mine the most profitable chain, it would be this chain right now. And I think that's why you're seeing a price increase. Hopefully it's to incentivize miners to stay on this chain. Now it'll be interesting to see what happens once the split happens and where the price lies. If the price is lower on SegWit 2x or BT2 and the hashing or difficulty is the same, miners will be losing money to mine that chain. And so it would make sense that miners would have to eventually switch over, because the mining pools, the miners, there's cost in running those mining rigs. So are they going to let their competitor make all the money while they're mining a chain that it's essentially a loss or less profitable versus a more profitable chain? I think money talks a long ways more than towing your political lines, especially in cryptocurrency. Money really talks a lot. If you can't make the money as a miner, you're not going to be a miner anymore. So I think that's the reason why, another reason why you're seeing the price increase. William Collins, you asked, what does a real useful mining rig cost? I don't know. I don't mine. As a individual miner, as far as Bitcoin mining, I think it's too difficult for an individual. You can probably GPU mine and mine other, altcoins, and then dump them for Bitcoin, because that's what everybody's doing. That's what people are quote unquote mining doing. They're just simply mining any other altcoin that's profitable. And in terms of profitability, it's based on Bitcoin and the current Bitcoin price. So eventually what they do is they just dump whatever altcoin they were mining to get Bitcoin. Dual overhead cabinet. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense for, like, the Bitcoin miners right now are heavily centralized, heavily industrial. To some degree, I guess centralized, but definitely industrial. No one's solo mining anymore. Everyone's operating a mining pool. You're part of a mining pool. You gotta pool hashing power to be competitive. So it doesn't make sense to mine on a less profitable blockchain. It just doesn't make sense. So let's see what else is in there. You know, that's something that's been talked about, DD8209. If the governments want to kill Bitcoin, they could just build huge Federal Reserve mining buildings to mess with the mining power. um, I guess you could say that, but you know, they would be contributing to the overall ecosystem. And then on top of that, it would make them bag holders, because what would they do? I mean, they could try to dump the coins, but they would have to pay for the miners that they bought, unless they seized them. But in either case, I mean, they're contributing to the overall ecosystem and participating in it. So I don't know if governments would ever try to attempt to do that, because in the end, they would literally be participating in the ecosystem in which they're trying to destroy, but they're not destroying it, they're actually helping it. You know, I've thought about China doing something like that. They're trying to take over the mining of Bitcoin, and by doing that, they're trying to take over. But considering everything that's happened and the price of Bitcoin has continually gone up, it doesn't seem to be working. And if anything, if that was their goal, it's definitely backfired. So controlling the mining aspect of Bitcoin in order to take it over hasn't worked. And I don't think it'd be a good idea for any government to try that, because again, they would be participating in securing the network by doing that. And then it would also make them a bag holder, in which, you know, they're basically helping the ecosystem. So it really doesn't make sense for them to do that. Or that's my view on it. Well, that's, you know, miners are doing that right now. They are dumping their coins. Miners typically don't hold their coins, from what I understand, because there's overhead cost. They have to pay people, they have to pay themselves, they have to pay the investors that put money into this, or any shareholders of their company. There's real expense costs to mining. So that's what they do. They bring mined Bitcoins to the market, and then essentially the investors or users absorbs all those coins that are being mined. And the fact that the price has gone up and is at an all-time high, tells me that there's more demand than there are Bitcoins being mined to dump into the market. The miners cannot keep up with dumping their coins that the market is absorbing. That's why you're seeing the price go up. So it's whatever they're doing. It doesn't seem to be working in dumping the price, and a lot of it does have to do with the limited amount of coins being only 21 million, and you can't fake that, and the fact that there's so much hashing power makes it very difficult to fake that. So yeah, these are all great questions and great ideas. Hopefully I've answered some of them to your satisfactory. So anyways, thank you for being in the chat. Dual Hover Cabness, DD8209. Appreciate you sticking around so long and chatting in the chat box and making comments, asking questions. Sorry if I didn't get all to your questions here. And I'm scrolling into the chat and seeing what if there was any other questions that I might have missed from earlier before. Okay, I think this was from Will Collins. He asked, do you see Bitcoins dropping to the mid 4,000s, then jumping up? I think I addressed that in the chart analysis. I think it's what I say, 48,000 based on the average, weighted average. I use Bitcoin Wisdom because it's free. It's limited, but you know, my experience with doing chart analysis is if you keep it really simple, it's really easy to make decisions. You know, like I use trend lines. I just draw lines, and I also just look at the average that's automatically set by Bitcoin Wisdom. And you have to consider that a lot of other traders use Bitcoin Wisdom. You know, they don't necessarily use TradingView. They use Bitcoin Wisdom, and a lot of people use Bitcoin Wisdom because it's free. And a lot of YouTubers use Bitcoin Wisdom. So other people see that and they use Bitcoin Wisdom. So anyways, thank you so much for being in the chat. I'll probably conclude this episode. Please enjoy all the links in the notes section. Feel free to like, dislike, leave a comment after the live stream, or even do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye.